Levinson, and welcome to Light on Light Through episode 402, my review of the first 3 episodes of a new Dexter series, Dexter: Original Sin, on Paramount+Showtime. And yes, the Dexter series is back with a prequel, and here's a review of those first 3 episodes. The first one went up last week. Episodes 2 and 3 just went up today, and a warning, this review has plenty of spoilers. Now, the debut episode starts right off where Dexter New Blood ended, with Dexter killed. Except, it turns out he survived, and the ensuing Dexter Original Sin is described by the recovering Dexter as, quote, seeing your life flash before your very eyes, unquote, as you're lying, almost dead, on your nearly deathbed. Now, this was a great beginning, but I have to tell you, Dexter's survival didn't come as quite such a big surprise to me, because I already knew that Dexter survived his son's bullet, since I had seen all the announcements of Dexter coming back in the flesh, not only with Michael C. Hall's voice, but Michael C. Hall on the screen this coming summer. That's right, there's going to be another sequel to the Dexter saga coming up this summer. So here's some advice to Paramount+Showtime. You should have kept your announcement that Dexter was coming back not only as his younger self, but himself per se, under wraps until at least the first episode of Dexter Original Sin had already aired/streamed. And it was an excellent episode. Patrick Gibson was right on as young Dexter, Molly Brown as young Deborah, and you can't go wrong with Christian Slater as the Dexter's famous in Dexter lore, Father Harry, who taught his son the code. You can give vent to your urge to kill by killing killers who deserve to die. In this case, it's a nurse in a hospital where Harry goes to have his heart condition treated, but instead is being slowly poisoned to death by the nurse. And this nurse is no newbie, and her age, of course, gives young Dexter material for one of his fine patented wisecracks said to himself and us. And this, of course, is delivered by Michael C. Hall's voice, who says, "My first was an older woman." Anyway, Harry not only gives his son permission to kill Harry's would-be killer, but he explicitly tells Dexter to do just that. So Harry is clearly as responsible for Dexter going on this deadly course as is Dexter himself. And we see Harry brought to tears by this realization. Harry not only seeks and sought to protect his son, but he activated his son on his deadly way of life. Harry did this to save his own life, which is understandable, but he knows that now he'll have to live with the results of this. Getting back to a more enjoyable aspect of Dexter, although really the whole show is enjoyable, but it was also fun in this first episode to see younger versions of Batista and Masuka looking in Batista's case and acting in Masuka's case just like their older counterparts whom we've come to love. Some new characters are also sprinkled in, and all in all, as of the first episode of Dexter Original Sin, I'd say it looks like one really enjoyable addition to the Dexter library on television. Now, Paramount+Showtime was good enough to put up both the second and third episodes of this prequel Dexter series tonight, and the result was double all the things we enjoy about Dexter, including at least two prime pieces of interior commentary from Dexter, the young Dexter, with the older Dexter, voiced by Michael C. Hall, actually speaking the commentary. One of these comes when Dexter, now working in his father Harry's Miami police unit, hears their captain at a press conference comment that they received a finger of the boy who had been kidnapped, sent to them by the kidnapper, but with no other message. Dexter, hearing that, says in internal dialogue, quote, "That's because the finger was the message," unquote. A nice homage to McLuhan, intended or not. Dexter has another especially apt interior line, quote, "Hello, darkness, my old friend," unquote. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Well, I'm sure you recognize that line. It comes from Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel's Sound of Silence, a song written, of course, by Paul Simon. And Dexter continues to hone his skills. He manages to get back the earrings he took as souvenirs from his first killing. Deborah gave those earrings to Sophia, her friend, who actually has a little bit of a crush on Dexter ever since she saw Dexter take on the guy who was trying to rape Deborah last week. Now, here I'll say I'm not clear why Dexter is shown rebuffing Sophia's advances. The adult Dexter certainly was not immune to the charms of women, so what's the point of making the younger Dexter not interested? He's too much in love with discovering his truest love, which is murdering those who deserve it. Well, if that's the case, I'd say this aspect of the narrative is being handled a little too heavy-handedly, at least at this point. But it was good to see young Batista get so much story and young LaGuerta introduced. In many ways, they were the most important characters other than Dexter and Deborah in the original series. Well, everyone was important, but those two were especially great, and one of the great strengths of Original Sin, as I said, is how much most of the characters look and sound like their older selves that we came to know in Dexter. At one point, in the second episode of Original Sin, Batista, played by James Martinez, sounded so exactly like David Zayas that it made me wonder if Zayas actually did the voicing. In any case, as are the first three episodes, Dexter, Original Sin, is doing one fine job, and I'm looking forward to more.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
And I hope you enjoyed this review of the first three episodes of Dexter Original Sin. I'll be back here soon with another episode of Light on Light Through. I just did an interview with the creator of a really excellent new time travel movie. I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but just in a few days, I will have up on Light Through the interview I did with him just a couple of days ago. And in the days and weeks ahead, you'll hear more episodes of Light On, Light Through, lots of reviews of some great new shows coming up, more interviews, and that, of course, will continue in the coming year, 2025. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sound, and enjoy.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplottosavesocrates.com.
Your brilliant story, it's real life.
Paul Levinson's Silk Code, about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.
Reading words from Paul Levinson's mind. His tales take the stage, leave the world behind.